Hello from Gardening at Douentza here in Ireland. And some of you may recall that a few months ago we propagated begonias from leaf cuttings. So this video is taking those leaf cuttings and removing the baby plants and potting them up, the next stage in the process. So I'm sure you're all dying to see how we did with those propagated leaf cuttings from a little while back. So I'm going to show you right now. Come on in closer and let's have a look at them. And here are the begonias that I propagated in the video that I'm going to link to at the very end of this. And as you can see, they were propagated from a single large leaf of Begonia seismorii, cut off and placed flat here on the medium, and then these little baby plants have grown up through it. Now what is surprising from my point of view is that the parent leaf hasn't rotted away. So we have several little baby plants that are now big enough to be removed. And here is another leaf over here. They're a bit pale from being kept away from the light, but these will come true to the parent because we've propagated vegetatively. And over here we have Begonia escargot, which we did the same process with, but this has been less successful, and probably because this part of the leaf wasn't pressed firmly enough down against the substrate. But we do have tiny little leaves coming there and a bigger pair over here. So we'll be removing that one today anyway. So we're going to remove this little leaf cuttings from the parent leaf. And the first thing I'm going to do is remove these stones that we put on just to hold the leaf in place, as you recall. Take them all off. And there were some fancy bits that went in there too. Okay, so once they're all off, then we're going to have a little close look in here and see exactly what's going on. Now, if we just use a little paintbrush here to hone in here. Now, I think that these two leaves belong to the same plantlet. And this one here also belongs to that plantlet. You see? And I think the roots from this little plant are underneath the parent leaf. Now you can see that the leaf has started to rot a bit there. So I am going to very carefully just kind of lift this. And you see the rotted bit just falls away. And not worry about tearing the parent plant, because the parent plant is just a host for the baby. Now I'm just going to cut over here. If I had a scissors, it would work as well, but I can just like kind of tear it with my finger. And now we have, or we should have, a separate piece. So what I have here is a spoon, and I'm going to just kind of go around the back so you can see, dig down here and scoop out the roots of this baby plant. Now let's see what we've got. Now lots of roots down here, lots and lots of roots. Look at that. Wow, that's a healthy root system going on. Now what I'm going to do is remove the bits of the parent plant that are still here, and in many cases just rotting off there. And now we have a little plantlet that's ready for potting up. Now you can see that this leaf here started to rot a little bit, so I'm going to take scissors and just snip across there, and it should be fine. Okay, so I'm just going to put this little plantlet aside here for the moment, and let's have a look at the next cluster we find on this parent leaf, which is here. And I imagine that this is all the same plant, it's just had the opportunity to grow more leaves. So the same thing again, I'm just going to tear the parent plant around like this and round the back. then with the spoon, I'm going to scoop out the baby plant, and I'm going to go wider this time because the root system was quite extensive on the other one. And look at that, the roots have extended a good way around the base, and look at that over here. So this little plantlet has done exceedingly well, and once it's potted up, I'm sure it'll just go from strength to strength. Now, just removing the bits of the spent parent plant as carefully as I can, because these will just rot in the end, and we really don't want rotting in there at the neck of the plant. It could cause problems. So we'll take them out, and over this side you can see those roots there, how they started underneath the parent plant and just went down. There we go. Right, so that's the second little baby plant we're going to pot up today. Just removing excess parent plant. Let's just give it a little shake off. Wow. And pop it over here, I guess. And what else have we got going on here? Well, there's something else that tried to grow here. I don't know if it's actually too small for removal, but we'll remove it now anyway because I'm fed up with this. And actually, you know, it's got quite a good little root system on it. So I think that'll probably do quite well if we pot it up. Now, I'm just going to place the 3 baby plants down here and have a look at this Begonia escargot, which is the one you saw me with at the very beginning of this video. And it's a more complex leaf. It twists around like this. So I can see that there's something going on here. Do you see there's a little plantlet coming out there? And also something over there. But basically it hasn't done as well as the other one. But look here. This is actually a leaf, I think. Okay, I'm going to remove the parent plant as best I can. And I'll tell you what, we'll do a bit of scooping. Let's go wide. Look how far these roots extend. Really impressive. And well, it's actually hard to see what's going on. I don't think that is a separate plant now. I think that's just the little bit of the parent leaf. That's the baby plant. So let's tear away the parent plant. So I guess the moral of this story is make sure that your leaves are sitting really quite firmly down against the soil. Okay. Plenty of roots down here anyway, that's for sure. So what do they belong to? This is the parent plant, just cutting it with my nail there and removing it. That's something new, and I'm not sure if that is actually part of the parent plant or a baby plant. Not sure at all, so I'm going to pot it up with it. And I hope that it doesn't rot off the baby plant. It's definitely a baby in there. And we've a lot of roots, so I'm just going to pull off some of this excess soil. And there's enough roots here that I don't have to worry too much if I break 1 or 2 of them. Okay, there was a little something down here, I believe. Little baby plant in there. Poor little thing. Thought we had forgotten it. And and a lot of parent. Now this is tiny. I don't know. Well, okay, let's put it out now. Okay, so obviously I need to do the same thing with those, but we're just going to forget about this for the moment. Just remove it over here, and I'm going to pot up the plants that I have already removed from the parent. So we have a mix, and this mix is 1 part compost. No, 2 parts compost, 1 part perlite and 1 part vermiculite. And I have these little cells here, and I am going to pot up the smallest of our cuttings in these cells. So that would be the, tiny little Begonia escargot. In there. I'll just put some mix around the neck of the plant. Now this needs a nice open mix. I use this one, but I guess, you know, there are a variety of recipes that you could use. So we have 1 little escargot in there. And here I am back again with 5 small pots, which I think will be useful for potting up these begonias. So we're going to take the first one and place it in the pot. As you can see, it has an extensive root system, so I think this pot is not too big for it at all. And we're going to backfill with the mix. Lots and lots of compost, just removing any very big lumps like that. Compost, perlite and vermiculite. And firming in slightly around the neck of the plant. And there we have 1 begonia size morii ready to grow on. Let's try another one. Second one. And again, we have a nice healthy root system is what we want to see. Just firm that in around the neck of the plant, ready for watering. 1, 2. Next one. The idea is to make sure you've no air pockets left in your pot, because that will just confuse the roots. They'll come out and into an air pocket, and well, they won't know whether they're up or down, will they? Oops, 1 little leaf has come off, but never mind. So that's number 3, nearly done now. So next is the Begonia escargot. Actually, lots of roots, but not so much top growth with this particular one. Now, when I did this before, I didn't have this result, so I'm not quite sure what I did differently this time around. That's this one, and the final one. Also size morii, we'll put in this little pot and pot up. And just to show you that here is what I did with the smaller babies that wouldn't fit in a separate pot. Okay, so that was my video on removing baby plants after having propagated them, talking about begonia leaf cuttings here. And what you need to do is give these plants a bit of a watering and keep them in a warm place and watch them carefully over the next time. Now, These ones have extensive root systems, so they're not going to need as much watering as they might have done if I'd removed them earlier. But keep an eye on them and make sure they're not in direct sunlight. Okay, hope you liked this video, and as I said before, I'm going to link at the end to the one I did previously where we actually started this whole process. Do subscribe and do check back again for lots more plant fun. Bye!